Hello, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll, and we're doing basically inside plants and dreaming to get back out there in the garden later. And I'm beginning to feel like I can get back out there after this is all over. It's just been a godsend for me in that we've been able to keep our electricity and I hadn't had to get out in it very much. But I have loved it because it's given me time to look through my catalogs, decide what I want to purchase to put in the garden this year, and just do some of that type of stuff. And I'm thinking about even doing a little bit of garden art painting, which I have not got around to that yet. But you know how we always seem to think about doing stuff more than we do it. But hopefully I will get some of that done too. Today's post is actually mostly my inside plants, so they're not looking very good, but we'll take what we can get. I wanted to show you some of my house plants. And actually I do believe I have as many dead ones as I have live ones, but this one worked for me. I wanted to show you some of my house plants, and I do believe I have as many dead ones as I have live ones, but this one is alive and I'm so proud that it is. My husband and my daughter, when she was a very small child, just a little more than a toddler, got me one of these, and it was very big. This one's probably only a foot tall, but the one they got me was probably 3 foot tall and just beautiful and gorgeous, and I killed it, which is what I do. But I learned that this is what saves it, this misting it, and I wouldn't recommend misting for a lot of particular plants, house plants, because they can cause fungus diseases and stuff. But this plant, actually all the ferns are plants with this type of needles. If they have the little needles, they do better if you spray them with water, and I've tried to keep it watered once a week, and it just looks great. I know it's not still Christmas, but I just love this as a little Christmas tree, so I've left that on there for now. So glad it's alive. And of course, on the other hand, this little plant right here, it could still have some life in it, and I believe this is an hibiscus, one of the beautiful hibiscus, maybe 2. I think there's 2 in there, and they could come back from the root, but chances are they won't, because, and I don't want to say that and be snared by the words of my mouth, because I hope they will, but I've had them, I don't know if I've ever had one to come back once it loses all of its green. And this is another little plant. This is that one that I was so proud that it lived, and I didn't even know it did. But I told you when I took it in, I probably took it in to die. And I doubt that there's life on this one either. This one is one of my vines. I'm not sure which one, but it's probably one of my passion vines is probably what it is, but it does have life in it. So as long as there's life in it, no matter how bad it looks, to me it looks great, because I know that it'll go back outside, and once it gets outside, it's a whole different story for it. This is another of the hibiscus, and it looks terrible, and part of it is dead, but you see there's a little bit of green there, so I'm just grateful for that. I tried my amaryllises again, and they're just barely coming along. And I guess I'll go ahead and say something about this poor little aloe vera. All my guests were so proud of it. It's so gorgeous. It's sticking up tall and just royally beautiful. But it just, I guess they call this stretching, when your succulents just kind of lay down and stretch out, and it was totally dying. So I finally did get a light for it, but I don't have an upper light where it needs to be, so of course it burned a piece of it, but it did keep all of it from falling down. There's a piece there in the middle that's not all stretched out and fallen down, so I'm hoping, we'll see what this will do once. I read that these ones, when they stretch out like this, they won't come back, they won't stand back up, so I don't really know what will become of this plant, but we will see. I will take it outside when spring gets here, if it lives the rest of the winter, and I hope it will, and I hope it'll be beautiful again in some form. And there's my little cactus plant, which is doing great too. This is a crown of thorns. I just love this little plant. Then what made me want to show you this is, you know, I told you I brought my plants in too late, and I'm not going to do that this coming season. I'm just going to bring them in September. No matter if they do look gorgeous outside and the weather is wonderful, because it's not good for them. But right down here beside it, I had a little panda plant, and I thought it died. There was nothing there, but as you can see, there's a tiny little leaf there now. You can tell the one beside it there died on me, and I pulled one of them off and thought, well, that's the end of it. But it's really still got a leaf on, and it's gonna, I think it's gonna be gorgeous again. That's exciting. And this beautiful corn Dracaena looks great too. And my rubber plant and my ponytail plant still look good. My airplane plant is still alive. Of course, this little plant right here is gone. And what was this? I can't even remember what this was. It was dew. It was a dew plant, and it was gorgeous. Let's see if there's a little tiny bit of life right there, but it's not doing well. Of course it's not. This little amaryllis plant is doing a little bit better than the other as far as coming on up there, but not that much. Whatever I had in this planter is gone. This little planter is doing well. This is that Joseph's coat, but the one underneath it was my beautiful Crossander plant, and it's gone. I'll put it out and see if it might come back from its root, but chances are that it will not. And this is my little Cheffelair, which is actually doing great. It's lost several little leaves off of it, but it's still doing very good, and I'm proud of it. This is of course, the Wandering Jew, and it looks terrible, but it's alive. There's life on it, and when I put it outside, I think it will go again and do great. And I'm not sure the name of this little plant, but it's doing good, whereas you can see the one behind it there is a goner. And I cut so much of this little plant off when I brought it in, and this is actually a succulent shrub, and it's called Joseph's coat or devil's backbone. It has several different names, I think, but I really love it. It took me a while to get this one started, but once it got started, it just took off and looks great. I love it. It's looking a bit scraggly now, but and this, of course, is a Dracaena burgundy spike, and I love it too. It's looking very scraggly now, but hopefully it'll come out of it when I get it outside in the spring too. And of course, not all of my vines, my ivies, have lived. I've lost leaves right along on it too, but there's also a lot of life there too, so I think that will be pretty again when I get it back in the garden. And my little Dracaena dragon trees are looking great. I can't believe I can grow this. If I can grow these, anybody can grow these. So if you wonder what to get, if you're new at houseplants, there's your one. Actually, I have two, and they have done so well. When I first got these, I just used them as a spike, and I really didn't know what type of houseplant they were, and I used them outside, which I will put these back outside. That's why they do well for me, because when I bring them in, they do die and lose leaves, but they don't die completely back, and they just keep looking better. I'm very happy with these. My daughter has at least one of these, maybe more, and it's very pretty too. This little hibiscus, this variegated hibiscus plant, is still alive and doing well. And I thought that I lost my this plant that is like blue butterfly. It's called a blue butterfly plant, and I thought I lost it, but as you can see, there's some green there coming out on the top, so I'm hoping that will live and go back out in the garden this spring. This is another one of the little air ferns that it does get kind of brown or yellow before I get it out, and I have been spraying this one also, as well as my foxtail fern, which this is just such a favorite of mine. It looks scraggly now, but it looks alive, and that's what I'm going for, whereas this little burgundy spike here in front of it is probably not alive at all, but I'll keep it for the root and try it and see what it will do. And my bougainvillea is looking limp and not so good, but if it just lives, it'll look gorgeous again when I get it back outside. And as far as my rootings in the window, they have had a hard time this season too, because we just had some really cold weather, and we had just a few minutes when we lost our power, but not enough to really do them harm. But they haven't got going really good, and of course I lose some. I've lost probably, I doubt if I've lost half, though. I would say maybe an eighth of what I put in here. That I lose some each time I change the water. I'll notice that one of the stems has rotted. But basically the little rootings are doing well. So if they will just go ahead and live until I can get them back outside again, which this is one of the last things that I do, because they are so tender and delicate after they've been in here inside and not used to the outside. But I certainly hope I get to keep, well, I hope I get to keep all of these, but like I said, I'm losing a little by little. So, but hopefully they'll be here and they'll go back in the garden. And even if they look puny for a couple of weeks or so, they usually come out of it and look just great. So this is what the garden really looks like outside. And I'm grateful for the little reprieve we had from cleaning out the garden. And I know that task is still before me, and most usually I definitely like a task done rather than to be done. But I feel more like doing it now if I can just stay feeling good and have the energy and wherewithal and enthusiasm to get something done. Don't you just love how God does things, though? I wish I could show you the sparkles on the snow. It looks like not only did he put a layer of white on the ground, but that he also just covered it with diamonds. Today is February the 17th, and we actually reached 17 degrees. And my nephew Clifton sent me a message that said, "It's 17 degrees outside. Be careful in this heat wave." It was nice to get above zero. Thank you for going on the Garden Scrolls with me. And please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.